Hi everyone, this is your instructor Joy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your nice comments, questions and donations. A subscriber asked about correct practicing. What's the correct structure to practice? What should we pay attention to? And so on. Very good question, you know. It is so important to put quality practicing, because if you don't have quality practicing, you could actually damage your performing and your muscle. So it is very important to know how to practice properly. That way we achieve the level of performance that we want. So, in my opinion, three things are important in violin playing or any music making. Number one, beautiful sound. No matter what you do, it has to sound beautiful. Sometimes we use characteristic sound, a little roughness or a little squeaky sound, even to make certain mood or whistling kind of thing. But in general, it has to sound beautiful. It has to have a resonant, beautiful sounding. Number two, musical ideas and musical phrasing. Just bunch of notes, bunch of correct notes doesn't do us anything if there's no ideas behind of it. If it were just bunch of notes, the computers and other machines will do much better than we humans do. So make sure, or in my opinion, musical ideas and nice phrasing is second important one. Number three, the important one in performing, or performers or any other playing, would be correct rhythm and intonation. I know the order, some violinists might disagree. Some people think intonation and rhythm is number one and the other way around, whichever. I do understand that's an important part of violin playing, but I don't think intonation and rhythm should be treated as a number one priority. So those three things are important, and then those three things should be what we all should pay attention to when we practice. So let's say you have a complete new piece, whether it's sonata or showpiece, a simple etude, even a scale. Let's say you are starting complete new piece. Then what I suggest to my student is just to sit down calmly with a violin, try to play through from beginning to the end, under tempo, meaning much slower, with a written bow, with a written articulation, just to know what this piece is all about. I prefer to read music without listening other great players' recording, because when I listen to them before I play the piece, I'm afraid I might already have a set idea of this so-and-so violinist playing. Therefore, I am not really giving myself a chance to meet or to study this piece. So I prefer to read without having any influence over any other player. Just sit down quietly and play from beginning to the end, under tempo as it's written, just to get an idea what it is. And that should be only once or maximal or twice of playing, no more. Because if you do more than twice, your body will start getting a wrong habit. So you have to be very careful to stop after playing twice, from beginning to the end, a very calm way, a slow tempo. Then I encourage to listen to a great recording. Either YouTube or CD, whichever you can get. Try to find recordings from great players, professional players. I know there are a lot of recordings and YouTube videos out there from fantastic students too. But in general, it would be better for you to get used to listening to the really big masters, or great violinists, professional big masters. That way you set yourself certain level what you want to expect from yourself. So you're getting certain sound quality idea in your head. You get used to that kind of sound, so that when you start playing, you want to copy that kind of sound quality or musical ideas. Then you go back to the sheet music again. Here, often the common mistake is, because we just heard the whole performance in performance tempo, we want to play the same way performance, but you have to be strong not to play in a performance tempo. The reason being is because if you force play through, not only you will get a bad habit which takes longer to undo, but also you're just, yes. So basically, so that you don't get a bad habit, and not only you get, if you forcefully play in performance, just like this great recordings that you heard, I mean, sometimes it's fun to imagine yourself like a great player and play through. You can maybe do one, be strong not to do too much, but still get back to the slow tempo. Remember, this is new piece for us. Just do slowly again and play again from beginning to the end. Then, now you have a little better understanding of your own playing and then listening from the recording from a great violinist. Then mark which part was not as good as the rest. Whether it's half page, 1 page, 15 pages, mark those. So don't be afraid to mark every single bit. Some violinists are so careful with their sheet music and they keep it so nice and beautiful. But remember, the sheet music is just a tool to make your playing better. So use it, write all the notes as much as it's possible to help your playing better. So mark the bits, the passages where it's not as good. Then you want to tackle that specific small bits, specific each passages. That could be just 1 bar, 4 bars, or 15 bars. Try to work on 1 bar at a time. Try not to get all 15 bars at once, and see if you can find a solution by trying different bowings or different fingerings, things like that. Different part of bow, maybe from tip to the middle, middle to the front. Try different parts. See if you can solve that problem by simply changing bowing or fingerings. Sometimes simple shifting saves the trouble, or sometimes just breaking the bow instead of slurring, using just up and down will solve the problem too. And you would do this one from a slow tempo, bring gradually to the performance tempo, and see if you can do the whole phrase, meaning couple bars or more, and as you come up with your own idea of new bowing and new fingerings. Sometimes when you get a sheet music, there's a printed version of fingerings or printed version of bowing, slur separate. Not always are those from the composer. So, but even if those are meant from the composers, if you cannot perform, be brave just to change it. Again, the music should serve you so that you can express and play the music you have in your mind. Yeah? So there's no point of playing as printed and struggling one after the other. So just be brave. It's better to play well with your own version instead of trying to stick to the original version, whether it's from the composer or from another violin teacher. There's absolutely no question about it, in my opinion. Nicer performance always goes first. So be brave, be confident to change, see if you can find a solution. And if you have cleaned all these problem passages, then see if you can play a little bigger chunk instead of just couple bars. Maybe the whole first thing you try to play. That could be just maybe first page or half page, maybe a third of piece. All depends on which piece you're working on. See if you can play somewhat under tempo, satisfactory. Then move on gradually in a faster tempo, and eventually you bring to the performance tempo. If the piece is already slow, then You don't need to slow down much, but you would alter different ways. So when you practice, if it's slow and a lot of slurs, then you, instead of doing always slur, you do a little separate bow to help your left hand to be articulated a little more like that. For sure, when you're practicing, you have to come up with a different ways of practicing. Playing just as it's written, let's say that slur, separate, separate, and that does not mean you have to play only that way. See if you can all slur or all separate it, because each one has a benefit of it. Slurred exercise helps left hand to be relaxed. A separate bow helps your left hand to be more articulated. Dotted exercise, which is long, short, or short, long, helps your left hand to gain control when it's fast runs, or also a little more articulated on your left hand. Sometimes just playing open string in that certain passage as it's written, but without left hand, just figuring out the bowing and sound by playing open string can also help to achieve a nicer sound. Like that, you have to find a certain step so that you can play the music what you have in mind. So trying the same thing over and over, in my opinion, is not a good approach. So go extra step, that way you can go where you want. You might think, oh my gosh, Joy, that's so many steps, how am I going to ever do that? It is actually takes much shorter than you would play repeatedly same thing over and over and hoping to be better this time. This may seem like a lot of steps, but if you're really disciplined, really control your emotion, but rather work with cool head and just analyze, be strong to stop and redo it with a certain goal, you will achieve the quickest way to the better performance. Even gifted people still have to go this same step. Gifted or talented people tend to, maybe they get a little faster because they have a very intuitive understanding of their body coordination, but still they have to go through single steps. You know, the great genius musician Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, even he had to practice. You know, his father being a pedagogist and great violinist, made sure that little Mozart was practicing diligently from early on, just to demonstrate, you know, all of us has to work for it, but you have to just be strong to have a quality practicing every time possible. Yeah. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again. Bye bye.